Hi guys, welcome back. The question for today's video is explain about System.out.println. As a Java programmer, this is one of our most familiar statement to us. But fortunately or unfortunately, we came to understand this after writing it for 100 plus times. Sounds funnier, right? That is the beauty of Java. So let's dive in and find out the answer for this. At first, in order to make you familiar with the syntax, I'm going to give you an example, and later, let's replicate this example with our most famous System.out.println. First, I'm going to take a class. The name of the class is test. Inside the class test, I'm having a static variable. Static, the variable type is string, and name of the variable is yes, and the content Java. Okay, this is my class test. Now I'm going to take another class. I name it as main. Inside this class, I'm having my main method. Public static void main string array arguments. So now what is my requirement is inside this main method, I have to find the length of this string. So I have to print the length system.out.println. Now I have to find the number of characters present in this string, the string which contains Java. How can we achieve this? This literal is of string type. We have a method called length method in our string class. What is the purpose of this method? If I want to find the number of characters in a string, then I can use this length method with that string object. So this object is pointed by a variable yes. With this, I can use length method. Is this code gonna work? No, because yes is of static type. How can I access static variables? By using its class name. In order to access the static variable, we can prefer class name dot variable. If we're using inside the same class, then we don't need to use any class name or object name because static is a term which is preferred to class. It is nowhere related to object. So this is a statement which I use to find the length of string s. So let's say test dot s dot length. What is this test? Test is the name of the class. And what is this s? It is a static variable present inside test class. A static variable. What is this length method? It is a method present inside string class. A method. Why I'm using this length method with the variable s? Because the type of variable is string. So I'm using a string method with this variable. Okay, you may have a doubt. In order to learn about system.out.println, why I have to learn these nonsense? The answer is very simple because we are going to replicate the same for the system.out.println. So here we are having a test class. In the same manner, system is also a predefined class in Java. Class system. Here I am having a static variable of name yes. In the same manner, the out is a static variable present inside system class. Static out. In this example, the type of yes is string. Here, the type of out is PrintStream. Once again, PrintStream is also a predefined class in Java. PrintStream. By default, it is initialized to null and it is a final variable. So likewise, we're gonna have a variable in err. This is for output string, this is for input string, this is for error string. So we're gonna have several methods, several constants inside this system class. So this is my system class. In order to access this out variable, what kind of syntax I have to write? Out is a static variable inside system class. So in order to access the out variable, we have to follow the approach. First class name and then variable name. And what is the type of this variable? Print string. So what are all the methods present inside the class print stream? I can use all those methods with this out variable. One such method is println. This is similar to this example. Here test is a class, here system is a class. Here s is a variable, here out is a variable. Here type of s is string, so we used the method length. Here type of out is print stream. So we are using the method println in order to print the string to the console. So what is this system? It is a predefined class in Java. This class is present inside java.lang package. And we already know that what are all the class present inside lang package is all by default available to all the Java programs. In order to use the system class, I don't have to write the import statement because this class is a part of lang package and all the classes present inside lang package is by default available to all the Java programs. Okay, fine. What is this out? This is a static variable present inside system class. And what is this println? This is one of the print method present inside PrintStream class. We can also check this by opening the system class. So we are having IntelliJ IDE. So inside that, let's open the external libraries. My JDK version is 25, so it is showing like 25 inside java.base module. And I already told that the system class is a part of java.lang package. So Java inside that lang package. Here we can find the system class. Yeah, here it is. As I told, out is a static variable of print stream type present inside system class, whose type is null. Clear as of now? Yeah. At this point of time, you might get a doubt. This out variable is initialized to null, and this out is a final variable. In order to print the output to the terminal, the variable out has to point to the standard output stream, which is my console or terminal. But it is a final variable and it is initialized with a null. Then whenever I'm using system.out.println, how am I getting the output inside the console? When this out is made to point to output stream. And how it is that possible if it is a final variable? We know that whenever final modifier is applied with a variable, that variable cannot be reassigned. By using the assignment operator, we cannot reassign. This rule is also applying here also. But how this out is made to point to the output stream is different. For that, my JVM calls a method called setOut. Here it is. This setOut method internally do some sort of work that as a result of that work, the out variable will point to output stream. If we see this method now, this method once again call another method called setOut of 0. But what is the beauty here now? This setOut 0 is a native method. What does it mean by a native method? Native method is also a method whose implementation is written in some old languages like C or C++. We will get the functionality from some other language. So if we see now, here it is. Private static native void set out 0 print stream out. So whenever the JVM is calling setOut method internally, that setOut method will call one other method which is setOut of 0 and it is a native method. So my code will be possibly written in C or C++. As it is a low level language, it will communicate well to the machine hardware. This method only perform the action. As a result of that action, the out variable is pointing to the standard output string. Clear now? And also it is possible for the programmer level to make the out variable to point some other streams. So let's try with the example. I'm having a main class and I'm having a main method. Let's try system.out.println Java, where this output will be printed. As of now, my out variable is pointing to standard output stream, which is nothing but my console. So if I compile and execute this program now, the output will be printed in the terminal. Let's see, the output is printed in the terminal. Is there any chance I can make this print statement to print to some other stream other than terminal now? Yes, it is possible. In order to do that, we have to write something like, first of all, we have to create a print stream. PS is equal to new print stream. Inside that, I'm going to give a file name. Let's say output.txt. And there is a compilation error because there is a possibility of file not found exception, which is a checked exception, and compulsory we have to handle that exception in order to get successful compilation. But I'm not in a mood to handle those nonsense, so I'm just delegating throws exception. See, now the error is gone. Now I have to make the out variable to point to this file. System dot set out of ps. In order to do that, we have to write a statement like this. If we write something like system dot out is equal to ps now, it is wrong because out is a final variable. If we try to reassign the final variable, then my compiler will give me left and right. See, it is clearly saying cannot assign a value to a final variable out. That is why we are having these kind of method, system dot set out of ps. Internally my out variable will point to the print stream I created, which is nothing but a text file. Even though the text file is not available in my current working directory, my compiler will create one for me. So now I'm going to write system dot out dot println. Hey, how about this? Oh my god, spelling mistake. Let's clear this. Fine. Okay, there is no compilation error. So let's compile it. And before that, I want to show you one thing. Let's close this external libraries. Yeah. Inside my src folder, I'm only having two files. One is my main class object code, another one is my source code. As of now, we are having only two files. If I compile now, nothing gonna change. But if I run now, a new file named output.txt will be created, and this text, hey, how about this, will be printed inside the text file. Let's see that. Yeah, my code is executed, but I'm not seeing any output in the terminal because I changed the output stream to point to this text file out.txt. And as I told you earlier, a file named output.txt is created, and if I open this now, I can able to find the text which I printed. Hey, how about this? So this is how we can change the out stream what it is pointing to. We cannot change it directly by using assignment operator because out is a final variable. But we can change using a setout method. This is what my JVM also doing internally. But in order to communicate with the standard output streams that OS related terminology, it has to seek the help from some other language which are more friendly with the hardware. Because Java is a high level language, it is not that much friendly with the hardware. So we are seeking the help of older languages like C or C++. That is why the set out of zero method is implemented as native method. I hope you will be familiar with this system.out.println as of now. System is a class, out is a static variable present inside system class. And in order to access the static variable, I have to give the class name and then variable name. And I can use whatever the method of the type variable. But there is a improvement or there is an enhancement in this statement. The most recent Java version as of now is JDK 26. But the most recent LTS version as of today is JDK 25. It is the most recent LTS version. We got plenty of features as a part of this release. We got flexible constructor bodies, instance main method, and also a new syntactic sugar for system.out.println. There is a plenty of features. Most of them aims to reduce the boilerplate code. So people will fear like seeing the first program in the Java. In order to print a hello world, I have to create a class. I have to give something like public static void main, and inside that system.out.println. Just by saying this, 90% of the people will feel, oh my god, what a difficult language. I can't able to read this. In order to avoid those kind of mindset, Java 25 nearly reduced 90% of the boilerplate code. I'm going to write something like void main io.println hello. Can you able to guess which language syntax is this? Is this a Java code or is this a C code, Python code, C++ code? Nothing to wonder. It is my beautiful Java code. This kind of main method is called instance main method, which is a feature of Java 25. Okay, this is a topic for another day. Let's come to system.out.println. System.out.println. So we already know what each word in this sentence mean. Java 25 give us another way to write the print statement. That is nothing but io.println. Just have a guess how these will be implemented. Simple. Java people created a new class called io class, and they placed this class inside java.lang package. Because we already know that all the classes present inside java.lang package is by default available to all the Java program. So in order to use the io class, I don't have to write any kind of import statements. So class io. Inside that, there is a println method. And we are accessing this println method with the class name. So possibly this method might be a static method. And like our old println, this println method also not going to return anything. So the return type is void. And the access modifier public. I will print any kind of text, which may be an integer, which may be a float, which may be a string, whatever. But this println method has to receive all those parameters. How it can be? By making the parameter type as object. Okay. This is the println method they created in Java 25, and that is what we are using io.println. But how this method will be implemented? There is nothing to think for too deep. Same. What drama we did for the past 30 years, the same drama is implemented inside this new method also. System.out.println. What we are printing? This obj. In order to print something, we have to use system.out.println. That is fixed. But from Java 25, this syntax is reduced to programmer level. But internally, the same syntax will be executed once again, but not by the programmer, but by the machine. So we can also able to open this. Once again, let's open the IntelliJ IDE and external libraries, base module, java.io. Here you can find IO. This is IO package. This is related to file IO concept. Now we are seeing about IO class, java.lang.io. Yeah, this is the IO class. Here we have 5 methods. One such method is println. Yeah, public static void println object obj. Inside that, they are also doing the same thing, system.out.println obj. But they did the thing for us, so we can use a simple statement like io.println. This is one of the important feature among many feature of Java 25. I hope you understand about system.out.println in Java. So we start with example and later we connected it with the system.out.println, and we also opened the system code and we also saw how to make the out variable to point to some other output streams and all those blah blah blahs. And we also covered a feature of Java 25 io.println, and we also did some postmortem in this IO class, and we also saw how this IO class is implementing this println method, which is same as what we did for the past 30 years. If you think this content deserves more reach, hit the like button, share it with your friends, and leave a comment. We will meet again in another video with another interview question. Until then, stay tuned and keep exploring.